Well, welcome back to the channel. We are live again. So for those of you that have popped on, hi.
Listen.
Welcome back. Listen, this is our recap review of Married at First Sight, which I am calling Shaq going hard in the paint.
I hope y'all catch or caught.
All right. So anyway, my name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This is Conversations with the Crawleys, and on this channel, we do lots of conversations about faith, family, relationships. And if you haven't guessed it by now, we do recaps and reviews of our favorite shows, including Married at First Sight. Hey, Karen, good to see you. As you're coming in, do us a favor, hit that like, hit the share, let other folks know that we're here talking about it, because some of y'all have been like, we missed it live, and yes, I know we need to do a better job of, if we're going to go live, kind of putting that in the community chat. But we didn't. Our computer's still down. Hopefully that'll be resolved tomorrow. They'll get the part and get everything taken care of. All right.
Yay.
Hey. All right. So let's start with Nicole and Chris.
Oh, okay. We'll start with Nicole.
We'll start with Nicole and Chris. They go goat yoga.
I've heard about it. I'm not interested.
I'm not interested in either.
Because my understanding, they're still an animal and they poop wherever they want to poop. Not interested.
I am not doing goat yoga. Y'all let us know if y'all would do goat yoga. I'm not doing it.
Have y'all done goat
Or have
yoga?
you done goat yoga? I'm not doing it.
It would stress me out.
I know you've done hot yoga, right?
Yeah, I've done hot yoga, but having a small animal around, I feel like I might step on something or I might hurt it because it's a little kid. It's a little
Literally.
kid.
Little kid.
So I don't want to hurt it. And I'm trying to do my exercise and you jumping on my back and everything.
Yeah, and then it was like it was jumping from, it was doing parkour.
It was doing parkour
on the back. So it was like, bop. No, son. I'm not for goat yoga.
No, but I get Nicole's premise, right? Her and her dad normally does goat yoga and want to invite Chris in the mix because she really wants them to get along and, really become a family.
Right. Which
I thought was nice. A great gesture. Obviously, the dad is warming up to Chris and the dad became a certified yoga instructor. What did you say? She said Karen said, I'm reading it. It's a white thing.
That's what Karen said.
I hear you because I wouldn't do that. And so, they're getting along and he said, okay, you're going to be my son.
Right. He gave him the ability to call him dad. He calls him son. The dad, now what I found funny about that also was he asked the dad, how was Nicole growing up? And he was like, oh, she had attitude. She was this. She was mean. She was nasty. She was conniving. You just started running down all these things.
Well, she said, go ahead, Dad, be truthful.
And he was like, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah, she was
a piece of work.
But I would have kind of dig deeper. Was it because of the divorce? Right. Did Nicole understood what was happening between you, and her mom, and what kind of brought on the attitude? Now, granted, when you're a kid, you don't understand everything, and so you think you know everything, and you're taking it out on your parent.
Yeah. So,
but it looked like he did kind of sum it up that obviously now she's
close. Matured, right? She's grown up. She's okay now,
right?
She
may not be okay, but she is grown up.
She's grown up. She may not be all right, all the way there, okay.
Right?
Because she said, asked her dad, "Have you ever seen me this happy?" or something like. He's like, "You're contented." Which is making you be happy, but you're content right now.
Right.
That's not really happiness.
Right. And I get it, right? Because, they're still in the beginning stages of this.
Right.
And I think the dad is just trying to keep her head out of the clouds.
Yes.
That's what I'm gathering from him. He's trying to stay let's stay in reality.
Right. you known this dude 4 weeks.
Right.
Relax.
Right.
Pump your brakes.
Right.
So they have, and this is the week where everybody's meeting with Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Pepper. She's a Pepper. We're a Pepper.
I love her
like
name.
To be a Pepper too.
I'll become a doctor just to say Dr. Pepper. If my last name was Pepper, I would.
You have to become a doctor.
You have to. You could. Who could resist?
Yeah. Well, that's why I used to joke around that I was going to name our first child Creepy. That way his name would be Creepy Crawley. It just writes. It's a joke that writes itself. Sorry.
You just never do that to a child. You talking about
setting
them up to be teased and bullied.
Hey, Creepy, come here.
Creepy Crawley.
Could never get a date. I got a date with Creepy. That don't. So yeah.
It changed his name.
Okay. So they do meet with Dr. Pepper. She does a lot of talking, of course, about her previous relationship and the trauma and everything, and how she's grown from it and how this is different for her.
Yeah.
He kind of does the same thing about how he's grown.
Right. And I think it's just probably eye-opening. I think she doesn't realize how much her past relationship has shaped her. And she said over a 15-year period that she had these toxic relationships.
Yeah. And
so when you're in a good relationship, it can be more uncomfortable because you're not used to someone treating you well.
Right.
And that's sad and scary at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that she doesn't kind of sabotage it, because she kind of talks about that as well. That, when a good guy will come around and treat her right, that she wants to push that person away.
Right.
And then she opens herself back to toxic relationship.
Yeah. So we'll see. I go back and forth on them.
I think they can make it. I mean, do they need to have a really good blow up? To say, okay, we can stand the test of being in an argument.
Right.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, at their core, since they're being so vulnerable and open, hopefully I feel like they could really gel.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
That's your thoughts. We'll see. At least he ain't sliding nobody's DMs, at least as far as we know. We'll talk about that in a moment too. All right. So they're in the exercise room of the apartment complex.
Yes.
Biking and doing the fishbowl exercise. And so she talks about the shame of her mom finding out about the burn when the guy that she was with, who was like, if you love me, you'll let me burn you.
Yeah.
Sorry. And here's the thing.
What?
I know that happens. I could never imagine someone allowing that to happen, but I recognize that it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's eye-opening this use, because if you have low self-esteem,
right,
but you're wanting love,
and if you think that that's what love entails,
correct.
I get that.
I think the hardest part, looking at it from a mother's perspective, is what she was kind of saying, her mother was questioning her, but she was not being upfront and honest about that, and trying to approach that conversation, right? trying to say, okay, someone hurting you or putting their hands on you is not appropriate.
Yeah, at all.
No, because I remember in high school, a girl talking about her boyfriend hitting her. It's just like foreign to hear that, but normally domestic violence, it happens at a younger age.
It starts when it starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he talks about also with his mom, just kind of the shame of, I forget what this.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh,
he had a party.
That's right.
And her mom was there, but the mom wasn't aware someone brought alcohol.
They're underage drinking.
Yeah. So the police arrive about to arrest. I'd be like, you arresting the wrong person. Arrest my son. Because when my son's gonna set me up, so I'm about to go to jail. Nah, that's not happening.
Cecilia Ann Crawley would have taken me into jail herself. Am I wrong?
Okay, I don't know. She's real mild now.
You get the my son is grown and he gonna do what he gonna do version, but yeah.
I would like take me to jail because she gonna definitely kill me when y'all leave.
Okay, please take me.
Please take me to jail.
I'll plead whatever you can plead.
Man. Yeah, so I can understand, like having the regret that you may have caused potentially your mom was about to go to jail because the friends you had over was bringing alcohol, bringing their own booze to the party.
Yeah, that's why you go to somebody else's house. His biggest insecurity he talked about was relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that he has kind of the biggest insecurity concerning, especially when it comes to them.
Right.
Just how he's handled them before,
right?
How he's been in them before, and even how this is going to work out.
Right. And I think everyone's been there at a point of like, am I going to find love? Right. Am I worthy of love? So I'm like, okay, I get it. Especially for him feeling like women were just kind of treating him. I mean, like when you say you're in a relationship and then your girlfriend or your supposedly girlfriend tells you that she's marrying someone else while she's dating you, that puts you in a rough mental state. I'm like, what?
How you in a relationship and get friend zoned in the middle of the relationship?
You're not even friend zoned. You just told.
No, she shared the information like that was her friend.
I'm getting married?
Yeah. Okay, so when I've had female friends that we were friends, they shared the information. Oh, I'm getting married. Da, da, da. Cool, happy for you. What's he's getting shared the same information like I'm getting married. What is he supposed to do? So her biggest concern or her worry is that the happiness will go away.
Yeah.
Because she keeps checking for it every 5 seconds. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?
Well, granted, as she shared her story, right?
Right.
And so the fairy tale of like, is he going to turn out to be something totally different?
Right.
I think that's where she's going with that.
I hear that.
Because I'm like, okay, I don't know about other people, but you've been married 25 years. I don't wake up like every day happy, like joy. Am I thankful that I'm married? Yes. I'm not, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm in this fairy tale. We get up, we do our thing. Life is life.
Right. Because if your relationship is just built on you being happy,
or someone making you happy,
ooh,
Jesus,
it's not gonna last.
No, that's too much work.
Yeah, because I don't have the stamina, the energy to be continually making you happy.
Right.
Your happiness, your contentment, if you will, has to come from inside. I have to do things that help to grow, what we have. But my happiness is not your happiness is not my responsibility.
Right. And so as long as I'm making sure I'm making myself happy, I think in turn that creates happiness between us.
Right. Now, if I'm taking you off, then that's a whole other story.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just constantly taking you off.
Yeah, you constantly take me off.
Oh, I constantly trying to take you off?
I'm just saying.
Oh, I was about to say, let me know.
No, I'm just saying.
Y'all heard it here first.
If you constantly taking me off.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right. So that was pretty much them.
Yeah.
Let's do Gina and Clint. There wasn't a lot going on with them this week.
I think they're still trying to get to the understanding because Clint is talking to his friend. He's like, man, I can't get her to open up. He was like, man, you need to get some booze in her. It was like the conversation they were having, right? So they're laughing back and forth. They're kind of just joking, right? But he's trying to say, I'm trying to get to the deep things, and I'm using my salesman approach.
It ain't working.
It's not working.
It is not working at all.
I want to tell her a story, and I give my story, hoping that in return, she's going to give her story.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, if you just popped in, make sure you're hitting the like. Give us a like there. Help YouTube know that we're here on live talking about Married at First Sight. He has fallen in love, though. Clint has fallen in love.
Yes.
With the dog.
With Hank.
He even said at one point that he has a confession that he's changed the dog's last name to his name. Listen, they live in that same apartment building. If they don't work out,
Hank is going to find his way.
Hank going
back to Clinton.
They're gonna have to work out a visitation schedule. He gonna get every other weekend and rotating holidays.
Right, for the dog.
For the dog.
Right, because our understanding is that Hank is hanging out in Clint's room. And so Gina wants to see her own dog.
Right.
She has to go in Clint's room, but I feel like they're obviously doing better, and they're keeping it lighthearted, but Dr. Pepper.
Go ahead.
Oh, Dr. Pepper is just really like, okay, y'all need to go deeper.
Right. Because they're being cordial.
Yes. That's a good way.
They are being, they're being great roommates.
Right.
They're being phenomenal roommates.
Right.
But they're not building a marriage.
Correct. Yeah.
At all.
That's a good way to put it. And so the fishbowl helped them a lot to really kind of dig into those issues.
Right. Because she does say that because she grew up with a single mother, that she has trouble opening up to men. Right. And she's saying that she needs specific questions. He's like, I don't feel like I'm having to interview you.
Right.
He's like, it should feel more more organic. And she's like, no, you need to ask me specific questions and I can answer your specific questions.
Right. Because she said, if you're direct with me, you'll get more of a response out of me.
Yeah.
Instead of you creating or I'm not saying create a story, but have a story. And then I'm supposed to come back.
Right.
With a better, like almost like, oh, let me top that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for Gina.
So yeah, that, and then she does say that it's hard for her to ask for help.
Yeah.
I forgot how she exactly put it, but basically she's like, it's hard for her to ask for help. She is pretty independent.
Right.
So,
and I can understand that. My mom was divorced, and so I was the oldest, and so I had to cook. I had to feel more independent,
right,
and do things on my own or figure it out. Right. My mom wasn't there. She said something needs to be done. I couldn't blow up her phone all day.
Right.
Right. I had to figure out how to do it.
This is before the days of having a cell phone, everybody having a cell phone.
Right. And texting and stuff.
Back and forth. Yeah.
You get one call. I came home from school. And during that conversation that I'm home from school, you get a whole list of other stuff that needs to be done before she got home. Yeah. So we had to figure it out. So I really get where she's coming from.
Right.
And Clint says that makes him understand her drive about her business and not really letting that go at this point.
Right. So we'll see. They're doing better.
Yeah, they're doing
just
better.
Being able to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
I still don't think that they'll move forward together.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? Because
no, it's not. They ain't moving forward. It ain't hard to tell.
I'm saying, look, as you said, we're looking as fans, right?
Right.
So, okay, we see them doing better, and we already gave Clinton credit for him making a lot more effort, right?
Okay.
And so we do see that turmoil starts coming back again. So I know we can probably, put a little wager that it may not go their direction.
Listen,
but again, I'm a hopeless romantic.
I might need to go into the Bet MGM app or DraftKings, see if there's
DraftKings need to put a thing on.
Do a Married at First Sight. Listen, I'll put a paycheck on Gina and Clint not working out.
No, you ain't putting your full paycheck on it. I'll give you 10%.
Depending on odds. If you can walk away, I'm putting it on there. I'll go do Uber and Lyft to make it up if I need to. Sure. All right. So listen.
Waging on people's marriages.
So all right. Let's get to Jasmine and Eris. We'll save Shaq and Kirsten for last because there's some stuff we got to talk about with them. Jasmine and Eris, they're talking. The thing I remember first, he starts going
profound. What's up?
What's going on, sir? You gonna show it? All right. So the first thing I saw from them is that he starts talking about all the women after Eve helped save the world. He's like, y'all women, y'all save the world. He's like, all women after Eve, except for Eve.
Except for Eve. I was like, okay. You know, because us men, we couldn't be left here in the world by ourselves.
No, you couldn't be left by yourself.
I was like, you ain't giving no men any credit. He's like, it's all the women that answers all the questions of the world. I was like, okay, we stretch it just a little bit.
His hotel self. All right, so they meet with Dr. Pepper. And she keeps saying she wants deeper conversation. She brings up the attraction issue, right? Because that's been hard for her to get past.
Right.
And so Dr. Pepper's like, okay, what do you want him to know about you? What's deep about you that you want him to know? So she starts talking about how she's mentoring girls, but she hasn't taken her own advice.
Yeah.
Right. About communicating your wants, your needs, all of those things.
Right.
And she does say that she had a low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And it took a lot for her to get to this point in her life where she is right now.
Which I can understand that. You know, some people may feel surprised because she was in pageants, but a lot of times people use pageants to kind of help build up self-confidence,
right?
And to be able to go out there and to speak and to be in different kinds of forms of attire and build that confidence. So I get where she's coming from.
But also with that is there's a lot of comparison, which can also have a negative impact on your self-esteem. If you're always feeling like you've got to compare yourself to other people, and within your mind you're like, I don't measure up. That can also be, because it's a double-edged sword in some respects. It can be a great boost, but it also can be a hindrance, is what I've seen.
Yeah, that's true. Both sides of it.
Yeah. And then there's some people that just don't need to do pageants.
That's true.
Ask me how I know. I judged one time.
Yep, I was there.
Couldn't sing, but tried to sing. It was bad. We were all sitting there. Listen, all the judges, we were sitting there like, we trying to be nice.
It was just straight face.
It was like, out of 10, what you giving her? One was like, I would give her a -4. Literally, that's what we were trying to figure out. How low could we go and not be too mean? All right. So she also says she felt in the marriage by herself. She feels like she's in the marriage by herself.
Yes.
And Dr. Pepper's like, okay, I hear that, but what if the problem's not you?
I was like, oh, okay, we dropping mics. Dr. Pepper, you drop. She was like, ooh.
What if it ain't about you?
I was like, ooh.
What if it's not his attraction to you?
Ooh.
What if it's not the fact that, you're not deep enough for him or what have you? What if the issue's not you? What if it's Joker over here?
I wanted to give her an offering.
And for us, we're sitting there saying we've been saying the problems with him anyway.
Right.
The problem is more on Eris than it is on Jasmine.
Right.
But for her, I guess being in the midst of the situation with her background and with her previous even thoughts of herself.
Oh yeah. I mean, anyone's in a relationship, the first thing you always want to internalize.
Is it me?
Is it me? Like, what am I doing?
It's not you, it's me.
Right. But I mean, for real though, you know what I'm saying? You're internalizing everything that's going on around you because obviously, I'm here in it with you.
Right.
And why are you not responding to me in a certain way? Have I done something that I don't know about? And it's those internal questions,
right? Especially
if you never get closure.
Yeah. So when Dr. Pepper does do that, she kind of gives Eris the opportunity to kind of open up, and he does talk about, his father dying. He had some friends that died that committed suicide.
Yeah,
one friend committed suicide. Another one died suddenly or something like that.
Yeah.
So all of those things kind of are causing him to be like, is this person that I'm supposed to get connected to, are they going to leave me too? Are they going to go away? They may not die, but are they going to leave me as well?
Because you still have this abandonment, sometimes it gives you an abandonment issue. It's like, well, why did my father had to die?
Right.
Again, you're internalizing it. I just can't keep people in my life.
Right.
And then his best friend committed suicide. And later on, as they're doing their jar, you see him talk about feeling mad at his friend,
right?
For dying. Like, why would you leave your family? Why would you want to put your family through this heartache? But at the same time, he had to remember maybe his friend was just so overwhelmed and hurting on the inside. And so he had to let go, and forgive his friend.
Yeah. The final says that was his cop out.
Oh boy, that's strong.
Well, because Dr. Pepper, she did earn her airfare for this
she did
this episode, at least in this, because she asked Eris, did you do Married at First Sight to stop running?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. She trying to earn her at least the airfare back. She trying to make sure they don't leave her on the tarmac.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If Eris had said some of this in the beginning, he wouldn't have been, he should not have been. I won't say he wouldn't have been, because producers do kind of stupid stuff sometimes. He should not have been on Married at First Sight, which to me then is, why are we not getting some of these questions or these things coming out beforehand? Well,
same thing happened last season, because we had another young man who had experienced a lot of death, abandonment, with a mom that we could definitely tell he needed counseling for. And you're like, okay, I wouldn't hook these people up with people, but don't we marry broken people? I mean, no one comes into a marriage perfected, or at maybe now, because more people are going to counseling.
But here's the thing. The challenge with this though is, at least I know some of your brokenness before we get married in a typical dating situation. I may not know all of your brokenness.
Yeah.
I may not know all of your issues.
Yeah.
But I at least have an idea of what some of them are. So these couples are coming into a blind with all their raw issues, and nobody knows the issues that they're getting. So now it's like, I got to figure out how I got to deal with my own issues in this marriage and figure out your issues in this marriage as well.
But don't we have our own representative, right? When you're dating, people have put out their representative.
Listen.
And then they can hold it up for a couple of years until they get that ring on there.
And then
everything comes out.
And then it comes out, you find out they got 3 kids, about 2 different baby daddies, baby mamas. Yeah. All right. So, so she also says that she never saw her parents argue. So yes. So she talks about how she never saw her parents argue, so that she doesn't know how to handle confrontation. Right. I agree. That's why we do say marriage should never be entered into unadvisedly. And yes, Karen, he should not have been on the show, in my opinion, just because of what we're seeing. Good.
Well, because I think everyone should go through marital counseling, premarital counseling.
Absolutely.
We went through it.
Yes.
And we've seen a lot of more success, because the questions we didn't even think about, because we're so in love, someone else was able to mediate that.
And when we've had couples that we have come to us and we've done marital counseling, we ask questions and they're like, I hadn't thought of that. Exactly.
You need to be talking about this.
We're not marital counsel. We're not telling you shouldn't get married.
Right.
We're just trying to help you uncover those issues so that you know what you about to say I do to.
Yep.
So, so they do have the fishbowl questions, right? Why is Jasmine not answering anything?
She checked out. She's checked out.
I agree. I agree. She's like, let me think about that.
Come back to me. He's like, okay. But see, this is the point where we want to see your fight, right? If you're saying that you're going to be in this and you do want to find some connection with her, I'd be like, all right, okay, cut, time out. You wanted me to get deep. I'm trying now. Okay, what's up?
Right. Because they had the conversation last week about sex is off the table. We're going to go ahead and work on developing intimacy. And for her, she's the one who said, we're going to find other ways to have intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to do that. And she is like, I'm good. I'm over it.
See?
Yeah, Marvina, she's
truth.
had enough.
She had enough. But we've all been there, right? I'm trying, and you're like, all right, try. You didn't it's like, it's too late.
I'm over it.
I'm over it. Whatever your issue is, it's going to be your issue. And so I get that. Mm-hmm. I think we've been there in our marriage. It's like, okay, we need to work on this. I don't want to work on that. And then the other person come like, all right, I want to work on this. And you're like, too late.
They're worn down like scrubbing brake pads.
Until it starts making that noise.
Just grinding. Not even the squealing.
Not the grinding. The grinding of it.
Listen.
Woo, boy.
So, but he starts, that's when he opens up about his friend committing suicide and some of those things. So I'll at least for this episode, now, not the entire thing, before y'all come for me, I'm going to give him credit for at least making some effort to open up. I'm not saying that he was perfect at opening up. I'm not saying that he was completely blameless or completely open or transparent. I'm just saying between the two, at this point, he made the effort. She didn't. But I also understand she didn't make the effort. Why she didn't make the effort?
Yeah.
Because she's tired.
He's like, oh, you late.
She's like, you should have done this like a week and a half ago.
Right. Like at the beginning.
Yeah. Instead of asking me about sex positions.
Right. Woo.
And whether I've had an orgy or whether I've kissed the same sex.
Woo.
So, yeah, she's over it. Now her mom does come to visit.
Right. And ends up, I guess he calls her. I don't know how, I guess the producers may have interjected and made this happen.
Mama Jasmine, can you come by?
Right. Help the brother out.
and she does say that I'm on the same page with Chris. I'm not a whole big fan of Chris. I think like there's some other stuff there. But yeah, he does talk with her mom. She does say that Jasmine's probably holding back. Mm-hmm. That's probably why you're not getting anything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she's holding back because, again, I think for Jasmine, she is trying to guard her heart. She came into this, at least what we saw at the beginning. She came into it like, okay, I'm going to make the effort. And she's attracted to him, right?
Yeah.
She's had these red flags, these red flag conversations, and the fact that he says he's never been in love, and then the fact all these things. So now she's like, I need to guard my heart. So yeah, she's holding back. She's pulling, she's got a wall up now.
Well, and also she probably like, oh, so Dr. Pepper had to come for you to realize that you need to be sharing this stuff with me. Dr. Pepper had to come. So that's probably why she was just like, I'm over it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. So I unless something major happens and they get really strong over the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
They're not gonna say I do.
Now this one I can definitely say there is. Yeah.
So you let me put the paycheck on this one?
Yeah, I'll let you put the pay. I might even add half of mine.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my God.
Part of Jasmine's problem is the teaching in the church about divorce. That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. Well,
so I'm hot, man. I'm sorry. So that was pretty much it for them. I don't think there was anything else with them, right?
No, I don't think there was anything else with them that, that's the major thing.
Yeah.
That obviously everybody needs to communicate and everybody needs to get on the same page.
Yes.
So
now, Kirsten and Shaq.
Yes.
Mr. Going hard in the paint.
Going hard in the paint. Hey.
Some of y'all caught that. And if you didn't catch it, ask a friend. They'll explain it. All right. So anyway, they got their meeting with Dr. Pepper, and Kirsten's like, I'm going to bake some cookies. She got her a roll of Toll House cookies, put them in the oven, and brought Dr. Pepper some fresh baked cookies.
All right. Dr. Pepper like, I don't need these cookies. You're wrong. She was like, how evil of you.
Mm-hmm. Then Dr. Pepper gives she gives her 2 keys for a relationship.
Yeah.
She says, make no assumptions, which I agree with. And then she says, do unto others. She says she took the biblical principle and the golden rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. She says she doesn't particularly care for that. She goes with do unto others as they would have done to themselves. I hear that. But if they toxic, I'm not going to do unto them like they would do unto themselves.
Right.
I think that the idea of do unto others as they would do as you would do unto yourself is a better way, because if I'm who I am, I'm not going to mistreat myself.
That's true.
Right. Now, granted, if I'm mistreating myself, then yes, I'm going to mistreat you. But sometimes you need to do unto others something that they wouldn't do for themselves.
That's true.
I mean, especially we're talking about Kirsten and Shaq. If he's doing unto her as she would do unto herself, he would put her in a wall that she's already building for herself.
That's true.
So I get what Dr. Pepper's trying to say. I just don't know, when you think that all the way out, I don't know if that works.
Not for them, right? Because everyone gets a lot of marital advice, right?
Right.
And what we have to realize, they're great tips. They're good to post on Facebook and Instagram. But at the end of the day, can I apply it to my marriage?
Right.
Is it something that I can actually work in my marriage? Because we get a lot of tips. I'm like, I can't do that. That's just not going. It's just not going to happen. Nor would I think you would appreciate it if it's not coming from being authentic, right, and being myself. Right. So I think the assumption part, I think they are assuming a lot between each other without saying what they need to be communicating to each other.
Because she does talk about, like, when her parents split, for her it was shameful. And for me, I think that speaks to something that has been kind of an underlying thing in Kirsten. Is I think there's a perfectionist idea that she has towards life. And so therefore, when her parents, which, yes, it impacted her, but their divorce probably had very little to do with her.
Right.
But it was shameful for her that her parents did those actions. So when you take someone else's actions and have shame attached to it because of what they did, that's a little different than I did something and I feel ashamed of what I did.
Yeah. And a lot of kids go through that.
Right.
You know, feeling like, did they play a role or part of that?
So yeah, he does talk about the fact that his mother was not there a lot because she was working, and that he didn't know his father until he was 17. And he was like, "Where you been?"
Right.
You went for milk, and what happened?
Right. Yeah, because I think we're rooting for them too, right?
Oh yeah.
We want them to really work out because we see the potential in them.
Absolutely.
And what they have to offer each other. And I think a lot of times we don't realize that our childhood really shapes who we are as adults.
Yes.
And now until someone comes in your life and there's this commitment, then you have to work through all those different things.
Yeah, because I mean, we've talked about this before, but your upbringing shapes who you are and how you view relationships, how you view marriage, how you view everything, right? It shapes your worldview. And so you are now becoming one couple, one person together. Now you're trying to navigate your feelings or your worldview versus my worldview and trying to shape a new worldview. So we're definitely rooting for Shaq and Kirsten. I go back and forth. I think they're on a good trajectory right now, but we'll see. He does say that they have gotten better at intimacy and chemistry, and tells the story about the forehead kissers, because that's what he's been doing up to this point, is really the forehead kisses, and how she was like, one morning he was like, I gotta go to work, and didn't give her a forehead kiss, and she texted him, was like, where's my forehead kiss? And Dr. Pepper's like, that's cool and all, but y'all ain't gonna build nothing off forehead kisses. That's not a marriage right there. Forehead kisses don't work. 25 years later, forehead kisses, that ain't working. Mm-mm.
But you can see how it's how she did want some affection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, she, like we talked about earlier, don't play the game like too far, like, you want him to chase after you,
right,
to a point where he stopped chasing.
You make him chase too long, he'll get tired and stop chasing.
He'll start chasing. And so she had to text him like, look, I still want them kisses, and he's like, oh, so you do want these kisses?
Yes. So and so, Dr. Pepper in talking and Kirsten's kind of like, yeah, I do want to build that. And so Shaq was like, all right, say less. I got this.
You want these kisses?
I got you now. I'm that's the green light. Okay.
That's the green light.
Give me the green light.
You got the checker flag. Go ahead.
No, you got the green light.
You got the green light. No
checker flag means that it's the end. You're about to get the checker flag, but he got the green light.
He got the green
light. All
light.
Systems go.
It seemed like the light bulb came in.
Warp drive.
Warp drive.
LaForge warp speed ahead. Listen.
He's like, I got this.
Just don't be the Fast and Furious. All right. Anyway. So he does some nice things for her. He's helping her with her logo and her website, right?
And she's starting to flirt.
Yeah.
Are we starting I would say that was flirting, right?
Oh yeah, that's Kirsten flirting.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I'm just checking because I was like
I say, yeah, she getting those free
logos,
advertisement logos. Listen.
Oh my gosh.
So because she was like, I'll pay you for it. He was like, okay, I can build it tonight then. Because her flirtation was like, there's what I won't charge you, won't, because he was like, I won't charge you. She's like, oh, but I'm still gonna pay you.
Right.
And he's like, oh, say less. I got it built tonight. Don't worry. I'm going on Squarespace or Wix right now. Your website's done.
It's done. You got this in an hour.
Best website built in 20 minutes or less.
Okay. Oh my god.
So, but he does set up a body paint night date for them, what have you, in their home. And he's painting. He's looking like he's trying to do Picasso and Rembrandt. He's like,
he got it all set up. He got the table set up. He put down. He made sure that he put everything down so nothing get messed up.
Yeah, because that's not really their apartment,
no,
right?
It's a short-term lease,
right? You mess that up, you paying out pocket for it. Married first, ain't paying for that. And he asked her, "Do you trust me?"
Yes, there you go.
He asked, "Do you trust me?" And he put some whipped cream in her mouth, and then he came and kissed her with the strawberry.
Oh, did you pass the painting the body?
Oh yeah, I mean he painted. Like I said, he was painting like he was Picasso and Rembrandt. He was trying to paint. And he was like, I'm not using a brush. Because she was like, at first it was like a brush. At first he was like, look, I'm gonna use my hands because this might be one of the only times I can touch you if this really goes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, profound. I don't know exactly what he was trying to create, but he was making sure that he was getting paint and touching her.
Okay.
So I give him credit for that.
I give him credit for that.
So then yes, they do kiss.
Right.
And it wasn't a forehead kiss.
No, it was not.
And then but
no, I said sometimes adding food helps.
Yes. And they continue to kiss some more, and then it ends. It looks like they're going and
well, yeah, because they're talking to her, right? And she was just like,
I ain't telling you.
If something happens, I'm not saying anything. We're like, oh, okay, you say less.
Right. You said enough already.
Right.
Unless you do something really drastic right now.
Right.
So
it's all they popping.
It's popping it on. So that's where that one ends.
Yeah, which okay. It's just like, okay, this is where we're talking about you're listening.
Right.
And I think even Shaq mentions this in the after party about active listening, not listening to respond or listening so then you can get your point across. He's like, I'm actively listening. I'm hearing that you are interested in me.
Yes.
You may have felt one way at the beginning, but now you're saying that you are comfortable with me and we can go a little further.
Right.
You know, and he stepped out there.
Yeah. I for a while there, it was looking like Shaq was checking out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that at least what we saw this episode, right? I think he was like, okay, let me make my effort now, because you're saying this, and I'm trying to pay attention to what you're saying. I'm trying to act on it. So let's see where it goes. So
yeah, which is, I mean, is again, I think they're headed the right direction. It's just continuing to head there, even if they have a little bit more hiccups.
Right.
They can still, I feel like if they continue to put the effort forward and they can continue to open up even more and be vulnerable, they're going to be fine. Because again, there's no perfect relationship
at all.
And I'm concerned that sometimes like they feel like, oh, we got to always be in a good space to continue on. And sometimes you don't have to be, because my understanding, if they still do this, they did offer counseling for them after the show's over.
I believe so, yes.
Because it takes a while to adjust once the cameras are gone.
Right, because that's a whole other thing there too.
A whole other level.
So we see the previews for next week.
There was so much going on. It was like, oh, okay, no, we're not.
So we still, that's a good point, Profound. He still doesn't know too much about her. He does, but he does at least have, I think he does at least have some insight into maybe why she was responding the way she responds when we talk about her growing up and the shame that she felt with her parents getting divorced. So I think he's getting to know her more, and some of that may be happening behind the scenes. At least we hope so.
We hope so, and especially if she's opening up
camera.
If she starts opening up and being more vulnerable to his touch and things of intimacy, that hopefully that'll get her talking.
Right. So in there, the couple of things that I pulled out as far as
next week,
next week's trailer, which was interesting.
Yes.
Was what's his name? McKinley talking about sliding into Gina's DMs.
Yeah. I don't think that's Gina's type anyway. He still ain't living. He's still living with friends.
That might be more her type. I think that's more her type than Clint.
Okay, but his whole situation.
Again, but don't be like Dominique and listen. We've been on here before. Who was it? The dude, the Steve from a couple of seasons back, that everybody was like, oh, he homeless, he this. Steve had some money set aside.
Steve was different. He just wasn't telling what was in the bank account.
And so with this, I think with McKinley, I think, and
he got money. He just say,
I'm not saying he loaded, but I don't think he just a couch surfer. I think, and someone brought this up, which is a good, which is just a nice conspiracy theory, if you will, that McKinley has been moving to try and be on.
Oh yeah, you did mention
that's been the rumor, because he was in California, a couple of seasons, or
trying to be on the show,
and then now he's here in Nashville. So that's why I'm not too much downing him because of his living situation.
Okay.
But I do think that he might be a little more her type than Clint is, because Clint, he's not as rugged as Clint. He's more of a kind of laid back guy that I think Gina might go for more than Clint. So that's interesting there. But then the other thing that was like, and I think it was just more editing.
Oh, it probably
was Shaq talking to Shaq talking to Jasmine.
Yeah.
And like, you're an amazing woman. I believe, and we'll see. Now, I wouldn't put my paycheck on this. I put like $5 on this.
Oh, you can put 5 on it.
I'll put 5 on this. But I believe that really what's probably happening there,
he's encouraging
her.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it seem some kind of way.
Yeah. Because he's just that naturally.
Right.
You know.
That's what I think. I think he's good with Kirsten.
Martin Luther King the second.
So that's our thoughts on the trailer.
There was a lot going on in that trailer.
Yes.
And this might be over a couple.
It's like the remainder of the season.
Yeah, the remainder of the season. So again, we'll see, right? I always hope that people who are looking for love find
Absolutely.
love, especially when you come to I call this the extreme, right? You're exposing your life on national TV while you're learning about yourself, your trauma, your past, your childhood. And so, we'll see as we end these, but we got 4 or 5 more episodes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got a few more, but
yeah.
So that's our thoughts. We appreciate you all popping on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yes, Shaq did mention that they consummated the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So Shaq did get some.
He got them cookies.
He got the cookies. Yes. He got the cookies.
He got the cookies.
He got some milk and cookies.
Some milk and cookies.
So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Kirsten responds to that, because she seemed a little taken aback.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me is part of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That she has, that she's, so it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see. So what's your predictions? If you had to predict right now.
As far as the couples?
Yeah.
So I think Nicole and Chris are going to stay together.
Okay.
Because I think that right now their representatives are still showing up.
Okay.
And I think they'll stay together.
Okay.
I think that Gina and Clint are not going to stay together.
Okay.
I know Jasmine and Eris aren't staying together.
Okay.
Unless a miracle in 3 halves happen. And then Kirsten and Shaq, I'm rooting for them more. I think that they'll be together.
Yeah.
And part of that is I'm really rooting for them. I think that if they got out of their way, they could be good together.
Yeah.
But they've got to get out of their own way.
Yeah. I hear you.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. If that's possible for Nicole and Chris, is that by the reunion they could be done. That's a possibility as well, right? The reunion, I think, already is going to have some crazy stuff, because we've already seen the clip of, looks like, Clint kissing Dominique.
Yeah, because we're saying this is a real clip.
Yeah, it seems to be real as far as what we've seen. If you have it, Google it. It'll probably pop up somewhere. It was in like one of the trailers just really briefly, but that should be interesting. And then now the revelation that McKinley slid into Gina's DMs, I'm sure that's going to make for a very interesting reunion special, even though we've got a few weeks before that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, let us know your thoughts. Definitely make sure you have subscribed to the channel. We appreciate you sticking around for this live. And then we will, of course, our other shows, what is it? Ready for Love, and Put a Ring on It. And let us know in the comments what y'all think about Love and Marriage DC. We've been doing it.
We've been trying
to do it. We haven't been as consistent, but let us know if that's the show that y'all watch and y'all are interested. See you all later. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye, guys.